Thank you, Rosemarie, for coming back and talking with us more about finding a realtor. And we talked about listing agents. We talked about buying agents and why that a buyer should have their own agent. And typically that agent is paid through a cooperation with the listing agent. But when you do sign the contract, you do usually have a clause in there that says that you will pay X amount of money, in the event that it isn't included, from the listing agent, because it's not required that they share.
Correct.
It's just um, uh,
Or
yeah, it's
it's a way to get people to show your houses that you have listed.
yeah. And I think it's important to remember too, when you are um looking at houses with your listing or with your buying agent, that you have in mind what you're looking for and you give that to them before you start so that you're not wasting your time looking at things that are not going to match what you want.
That reminds me of a week ago or so. The customer that I've been working with since 2017, his agent was out showing him houses. And even though he gave them, okay, X amount of bedrooms, X amount of bathrooms, this kind of area, about this site price, this basement, that whatever, garage, he gave them all the parameters. When they went in and looked, the realtor was paying attention. Okay. Afterwards, he kind of debriefed me and he says, yeah, I'm getting an idea of what's most important to the buyer. Okay. It's not, you got a list of wants. You also have a list of needs. And the first thing you should do before you start setting up your search parameter is to know the difference between your wants and the needs. For example, I wanted a 2.5 car garage. I got a 1.5 car garage. We can't fit half of the Cadillac in the other side. But to me, whether or not the house was in the garage or the car was in the garage was less important than if the house met my needs. I wanted 2 bathrooms. I needed 2 toilets. I got 1.5 baths. So it's important to realize what you need versus what you want. But now we're going a little ahead. Let's talk about actually choosing the realtor.
Yes.
When you're where do you go to choose a realtor? I mean, you're shopping for groceries and you see somebody's face on there. Is that the person you go to? Maybe. That person's been around for a long time. I know, I've known her for a long time. Been a long, long time. But just because you've seen her face, okay, so somebody who's local. Okay, you're seeing, so I want somebody who's local. I want somebody who's been around a long time. Okay. So you might say, okay, well, this lady's been staring at me for when I'm grocery shopping for the past 30 years. Maybe I'll go through her. Well, that might be a potential person because, the experience and all that. There's also social media. Okay. I got a Facebook page. I'm not a realtor. I got a Facebook page. I got a LinkedIn page. I got an Instagram account. I got a Twitter account. Oh, that's X now. I got a YouTube account, right? You can find it through social media. You can find it through advertising. Okay, that's all basically it is. And keep in mind, the more money a company has to spend on advertising, the less money it has to spend on something else, right?
Yeah.
Because profit is the key. So when you're shopping for a realtor, just like when you're shopping for a mortgage rep or you're shopping for a financial analyst or anything, we're in especially in the financial services, the financial industry, real estate, you want to look at who's going to represent your needs best, and you're going to look at, okay, so does that make the person I'm dealing with a better agent because they've got a lot of advertising? Now, you don't see a whole lot of advertising from individual real estate brokerages anymore. They do it all basically for the person, but social media sites are a good place to do more promotion, right? So you might look at that and say, or you might go into one of your groups on Facebook and say, I'm looking for a real estate agent that's got a lot of familiarity with such and such a neighborhood. And I want to hear from other people in this city. You know, who did you work with when you bought your house? Do you like them? Do you not like them? And why?
Mhm.
Okay. I personally think that a public referral is better than just advertised referral,
Right.
right? It's at least human beings, but that can
Mhm.
be rigged too. That can be rigged. So get an idea. I think the best person to go to, or the best place to start, is by going to somebody that you've worked with before, or that somebody that you trust has worked with before.
Right.
And most of the same thing like the loan officers. If Mary gives me a referral for a mortgage company, not only am I wanting to do a good job for that customer, for their repeat business and their referrals, I need to do a good job for this because I don't want to lose Mary's future business and her referrals. So
Mhm.
when you get into a place where you're personally referred by somebody who's gotten a good experience with somebody else, I think that just elevates the level of service that you can expect when, as compared to, you call on a listing sign. Hi, I want to see this. I want to see this house. Okay, you're not talking to the listing agent. You might be talking to his assistants.
Mhm.
The reason they put it up there is to get the call. That's a source of business, but that's not a personal referral.
No.
That is an advertised lead. That's it for the realtor. That's an advertised lead. And there's, the more and more automated we get, the more and more I'm noticing the differences in customers referred by somebody that trusts me versus somebody who might have just seen me, or, a lead that I call. I buy a lead, I call.
Mhm.
There's a difference because the expectation's different. The person who you call from a general lead, buy leads or whatever, same with real estate agents, those are going to be the people that don't think they need your help, right? They're not going to use you unless you can give them a shiny object. Okay. So for the mortgage reps, they go, oh, I got a 5.75 interest rate. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. But they don't tell all the details. For the real estate agent, they got shiny objects too. I'm not, I can't really think of it, but they want to, you know, they're getting the customers through advertising.
Mhm.
So the way customers that come through advertising, what they're looking for, they got a different perception than when, you tell your daughter, go to Rosemarie. I
Mhm.
got, this many mortgages from her. Grandma and grandpa got some mortgages from her. She's going to take good care of you. There's an automatic trust factor that you're working with because of proven results. So when you're getting connected with people through advertised means, and this is just my opinion, through advertised means, their job is to make you become a customer so
Mhm.
they can get paid. So their perspective is, what do I need to say to make this person, work with me? Um, versus when you get somebody that's been personally referred, their whole objective, that there seems to be a difference. Well, there is a difference between relationship sales, which is what this business really used to be, and transactional sales. And when it comes to securing customers in this market, in the real estate mortgage industry, um, securing customers is the object rather than furthering trust. I mean, you've got to secure the customer before you can do anything for them. So You got to figure out what they're looking for in an agent, and you got to do it. It's a transactional deal. They got the deal from a lead. They can buy more leads versus the relationship sales. They got the business from a trusted source, real estate agent, a friend, a financial planner, an attorney, anybody, a professional person that has experience. There is a trust. So once you get the customer, then you can start developing the relationship when you're on a transactional. But the way you're going to be dealt with is this transaction's what's most important to me versus the relationship that I have with you and your family and your friends and the people that you work with and the people at your church. Those are what's more important to me. All right.
Okay, yes. So really, and I think there more and more people are looking for trusting relationship. They're looking at trust rather than, we're being bombarded with sales, 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 sales. People are looking for a trusting relationship.
I would like to say that's true, but
Yeah.
a lot of people go for the shiny objects with the multi-million-dollar advertising campaign.
That's true because a lot of people are still in that mindset of if it's out there and they've been there for years, they must be the best.
That is
And
perception.
so,
You used
and
to
that
get
goes, that gets us to some questions that we need to ask when looking for an agent. And that
Yep.
is, how long have they been in business? Sometimes, and I will say this, some of the best real estate agents that I've worked with have only been in business for 1 or 2 years, and they're hungry to serve people. So that's, being in business for 30 years or 20 years, they have experience, but they may not be hungry to serve people. So you want to look for someone who is hungry to serve you and to, who's asking you questions like, what are you looking for and how can I help you? And, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? That's a big question. Their specialty, you don't want to find a listing agent or a selling agent, I'm sorry, a selling agent that works just with commercial or corporate um entities. You want someone who works in residential, who works in the area that you're looking in. You know, you don't want somebody 30 miles away to come down and work with you in that area that they have no idea about.
Well, let me slow you down here because that's a common, those are all common beliefs. Okay. Um, First of all, one common belief is that experience is better. Part of that is true. Okay. Um, but like you said, you can get somebody who's eager to serve, hasn't been jaded by rejections over and over again. But if you get somebody without experience because you like working with them, they're showing the dedication, they're looking things up, they're asking questions, you want to make sure that they have a mentor or somebody, a broker, or somebody that they're working with that can like oversee their work to let them know, to let you know of some of the implications that might happen that only experience is going to give you the ability to note. I mean, I can talk to somebody on mortgages, of course. I can talk to somebody for 15 minutes. And I, in fact, told a realtor this week, my pre-qualifications are better than most people's pre-approval. And then I sent him the pre-qualification letter and he knew what I was talking about. So it's not just how long have they been in the business. It's and not just how long, because they could be in business selling one house a year for 90 years, just to their family. But that doesn't mean they know, they have the experience dealing with it. I mean, it's not so hard just learning how to write up a purchase agreement and knowing the basic rules. That's not so hard. The hard part comes into, in terms of negotiation, what are your negotiation tools? What happens when there's a problem? What if the appraisal comes in low? What? That's where the experience comes in. That doesn't mean you need an experienced agent, but that agent that's not experienced needs to have the ability and the relationship with an experienced person, or the resources to find out answers to complicated questions and to bounce ideas off of, just to see if it will or will not be a problem. So
Okay,
yes,
one of the things that you said is they need a mentor. It is my understanding is that every real estate agent, at least in Michigan, has to work under a broker.
well, if you don't have a broker's license, that's my understanding too, but that doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily mean your broker's going to be having the door open and said, let's pull this out and let's take a look at this. That doesn't necessarily mean it. And yes, a lot of them have mentors, like other real estate agents assigned to
Mm-hmm.
be their mentor, and their mentors get a piece of the action for a while, which is totally understandable. But how good is the mentor? How attentive is the mentor? What's the relationship between the new agent and the
Right.
mentor? If I
And
have a question at 9 o'clock at night and I'm getting ready to sign on this purchase agreement, and my agent who's been in the business, 3 months, doesn't know the answer, I want that agent to be able to call the mentor. And I need, maybe I need to talk to the higher up in this case. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And I think it's important if you're hiring somebody who's only been in the business 3 months, you need to know uh everything that they would know. Let me just say this, is that you cannot expect someone who has only been in the business for a very short period of time to be in your best interest if they don't have the ability to uh, have somebody oversee them, because it's just too short of a time. So I know 3 months was just a throw out there, but I want to say, uh, there are people that are in the industry that they are in it doing work on their own,
Mhm.
so that they are building up their portfolios in their real estate business, but they are also uh being mentored, like you said, by people who have been in this industry for a while.
I'll give you an example. I met a woman at a networking event before she had her license. I liked her, kept in contact with her, congratulated her when she got her license. And in her first year, she did absolutely wonderful, because the enthusiasm and the excitement bled through. Now, the first couple of purchase agreements we want, she's like, Rosemarie, what do I put in here? I could tell her where the mortgage stuff, what to put in the mortgage stuff.
Mhm.
She's and you can add, and she had a very well experienced mentor. So that picking the real estate agent is important. We only got for their first one, and we're almost we're almost done with it.
You know, that's a big one. I have to say that knowing what you words I'm struggling today. Um, knowing what you want. Like when we purchased the house we're in right now, I did all of the um background research. I
Okay.
knew what I wanted. We had to have immediate occupancy. We had to have, you know, uh, a uh, the negotiation needed to be X, Y, and Z. I knew exactly what needed to be negotiated, because in order to get the house, it was a fixer upper, and in order to get the house into the position that we could purchase this, I knew exactly what had to be done, when it had to be done by, and how many
Really
eyes I
organized buyer, Mary.
yeah, but this is it, and I when this is the funny part. We could not find a real estate agent. That they never returned our phone calls. They did not return our emails. You know, they were just all really busy. And so it was really hard to find a real estate agent. I went on Facebook, just like you said, a Facebook group, and I'm looking for a real estate agent. Nobody responds. And I'm looking, yeah, and I'm looking at, I had gone on to this one group that was, you know, different real estate investors. And so I started asking um, who in there was a real estate agent. I got a response from one of them. I said, "Can you show me a house today?" And he's like, "Yes, when do you want to see it?" And that's who I went with, because my 10, attempts to get a real estate agent were like, but then I also did this. I prayed, let the real estate agent that contacts me be the one that you have for us, because he's got to jump through all of these hoops. I knew exactly what we had to have, and I knew exactly how it had to flow. And I'd already been in contact with my mortgage originator and lender. I had already been, apprised of everything I needed to do to get this house in perfect order. And so I knew that, I just needed a real estate agent to be in our best interest and to negotiate. Did he fail a few times? Yeah, because, he wasn't experienced in all that we needed. But when he slipped, I would just send him a note and say, "Oh, we need you to contact, our lender. We need you to do X, Y, and Z. Could you tell me about this?" So it's important that you know, if you're using someone who isn't as experienced, that you know what needs to be done, and you're in the loop and staying in that loop constantly to get everything done.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's my whole nutshell. Oh my gosh. And that negotiation was so important,
Yeah.
being able to negotiate an immediate um uh, possession
Yeah.
is not an easy task.
No. How much time do we have left, Mary?
Uh, I think we have about 30 minutes.
30 minutes. 30 minutes left? We've already been on for a half hour.
Oh, no, actually, because we got back on at 10:45. So,
Okay. All
yeah,
right. Well, I would like to go over just some tips on talking to home buyers when they're interviewing agents.
awesome.
Okay. A couple of things. Um, Understand that everybody varies in terms of experience, and the people without experience, they might have more of this, and they might have this and this and this. So, what you want to do is you want to look for your overall best match. But one thing I want to caution people on, everybody wants to do a good job for themselves, and they want to be empowered to choose the right person that they're working with. But attitude has a lot to do with it. Generally, the buyer's agents pay nothing for the service. Okay. That's the way it is. The realtors don't get paid until after you close. So seek a realtor to have an interview. Understand this is a mutual exchange. Do you want to, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be committed to a loan officer unless you sign a buyer's agency. I mean, a realtor. But if you're out real estate agent shopping, their chances of making money go down and down and down. If you're not a serious buyer, if you're not qualified, if you're you want something that doesn't exist, they're not going to get paid.
Mhm.
So when you interview somebody, it's not like, okay, it's not like a job, quite the same. All right, so what's your experience? All right, so what? When you'll be available? When I want do this and do that? All right, I'm going to give you $75,000 a year. It's not like that. It's you're asking them, the real estate agent, a person who makes a living closing deals, to spend their own time helping your dreams come true for no guaranteed money. So there's a give and a take. For example, you might offend the realtor if you start acting like you've got a $250,000 job that they're applying for, because they may or may not get paid with work, whether you might not even buy a house, they don't know. I think the first thing to do when you're contacting a real estate agent is to lead with your pre-approval.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Rosemarie. I'm looking to buy a house. I got pre-approved through such and such a lender for such and such a loan amount on this type of loan. And I want to see houses in this type of area. What I'd like to do is find a real estate agent that I can be dedicated to, that I will work with exclusively, and I want to be in a house in the next 90 days. I think a realtor would love that person.
Absolutely.
I can send you my pre-approval letter, but what I want to do, if you don't mind, is I'd like to take some time and just talk to you. Now, do you want to go on Zoom? If you go on a meet and greet, understand that's even more time that they're spending. And then they're spending money because they're going out in their car and the gas and things like that. And if you want to, that's fine. But generally, a good conversation, maybe a Zoom, and maybe a meeting at their office, so that you talk to the people and work with somebody you're going to feel comfortable. I jotted down some notes. First thing I said is lead with the pre-qualification, and offer to send it to them, or the pre-approval, and offer to hook them up with your lender. So that makes them know you're serious and you're qualified, or they can find out pretty quick. They call the lender. Like I said, disclose all the terms. What kind of mortgage you're going to get. What kind of sales price you're looking for. Areas of interest that you're willing. Like I said, if you're willing to work with somebody exclusively, tell them that, because they're going to put time even just setting up a search parameter for you. And then just tell them that you're going to choose an agent, and you want to talk to a couple more people, and and then thank them for their time and tell them when you're going to get back with them. Thanks, Mary. I really appreciate you taking this time with me. I'm gonna call a couple other people. I really like what you have to say, and I will let you know if I'm ready to go shopping with you, right? And then you can see if they follow up, or give you an email. Thanks for the time. You can tell what their personality's like. You can tell by the conversation. You can tell them. You ask questions, general questions. Like, you're going to ask how long you've been in the business. What do you do in this case? How do you get negotiating a co-op? You can ask whatever you want, but really what you're doing is getting a feel for the energy of the people that you want to work with, and have respect. Have respect for these people. I mean, people who are, making $14 an hour don't know how good that sounds to some realtors in this market, and some
Right.
markets worse than others.
And this is a really tough market. So many realtors have gone.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do only have 10 minutes left. I'm just gonna tell you. But so, my 30 minutes just got reduced to
I can talk that long,
15.
Mary.
But I think that we answered today what we were looking at, and that was, how do we get a buying agent that will work with us? And that is something that's going to be individual to each person, but it's going to be, um an important part of the housing, their road to home ownership, a very important part to it. Um, and I think, sometimes just having somebody who understands what you want, where you want it, has worked in that area, you know? I say that you don't want somebody, who lives 50 miles away, who hasn't ever worked in the area that you're looking in, to come and to work with you there, because they may not know that that's a good area. When we were looking for houses, for instance, we said we didn't want anything below this certain area. And our
That movie
agent,
might have been made.
our agent that we had at the time had 10 houses below that area. Well, I know you said that you didn't want anything below this area, or in this certain, geography, but I thought this house met your needs. Well, the first thing is it was in an area that we were not comfortable in. And
What part of location did you understand, realtor?
exactly. And so, we were like, there's 10 houses over there, but that's not where we want to be. But that was, the houses that they were picking up.
Well, okay, a couple of things on that. First of all, is the buyer's expectation properly aligned with the market? I want this, and I can only spend this.
Mhm.
Well, okay. So these are the houses. This is in all your parameters. The houses are below. Okay. They're below the area. They're not in the area that you want. Okay. But that's what you want in a house. But one of the things that you want is the neighborhood. Okay. The school district or whatever it is you want,
Mhm.
close to arts and, people in your ethnic group all live here, or whatever you want. What you want, location has part to do with it. What a good agent, in my opinion, is going to do and say, all right, Mary, what I tried to do is align your needs for the house first before I prioritize your talk about location. Why don't you want to live in these areas? Okay, well, Mary, you might not know that there are other places that might not be here that have, okay, is it whatever realtor, you don't want to live there. You might get neighborhoods or whatever in those neighborhoods, in that area. There might be a pocket. For example, what I know off the top of my head, Detroit. There's a Indian Village, Sherwood Forest. Have you heard of those places in
Absolutely,
Detroit,
yes.
Mary?
There's the
Okay, you're
Hispanic.
frozen, so I'm going to talk for a couple more minutes. There's specific pockets. Say, I don't want to live in Detroit. Why don't you want? Go ahead, I hear you now.
Mm,
Okay, I don't hear you. So, because this particular thing or that particular thing, but the perfect house and what you want is the perfect house. You don't care about the school system. You don't care about, city services. What you want is the house. That might be a reason, a pocket of an area some people live in that they do want to live in. And they have awesome houses and architecture and stuff like that.
mhm.
Are you back yet?
I don't know. Can you see me? My internet connection is unstable at the
It's
moment.
getting better.
Yeah. So we only have a few minutes left. Let's just go ahead
Your
and tie this up.
face isn't back, but
Okay. Um, I think
so
it's
basically,
I lost you. My internet connection is
you're frozen,
unstable.
but you have a
Yeah.
nice look on your face, huh?
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and close this and
That's okay. That's okay.
all
It was great
right.
talking to you, Mary.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk again. All right. Bye-bye.